Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of September. I hope you're all well. I'm sorry these are late. Thank you for waiting for me. I do appreciate that. And sorry to any of those people who were expecting mid-month readings for August. I did put a post on the community tab to say that I wouldn't be uploading any, as I desperately needed a break, and that's what I did. I took my children away on holiday and had a couple of weeks in the sunshine. Absolutely devastated to be back in the UK with the awful weather that is blighting the country at the moment, but there we are. So let's have a look and see what's going on with you, Aquarius. 3 cards for Aquarius, please. Wow, okay, these have all flown out. The very first card that you've got in your recent past is Death, followed by, oh, we've got 3 cards here. Queen of Pentacles, the 8 of Pentacles and the High Priestess. Wouldn't usually take those, but actually I think I'm going to just go with it this time. That's in your current energy. Lots of things going on there. And what's coming towards you is the 8 of Wands. Now, at the bottom of the deck we have the Hermit, that's Virgo energy. It talks about a period of introspection. It's quite often just remaining still enough that the answers to the questions that you have make themselves known. And it seems like you've been going through something quite profound, Aquarius. There's a lot of major arcana here. It's in the shadow cards and the cards that are on the table. So, we just get some clarifiers and then we'll get on with this. Tell me why Death is here, please. Why is Death here? I've got the Queen of Cups. And Temperance, more major arcana. Okay. Queen of Pentacles, High Priestess, 7 of Pentacles. And the Chariot. Is that the Chariot? It is. And how about this 8 of Wands? Why is this here? Ooh. 6 of Pentacles. A veritable splurge of cards. Right, that's too many. Let's put those back. I'll shuffle them back in, just in case one of them was the one that wanted to come out. And the 8 of Wands, please. Okay. So, we've got the 6 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Elements of the past have been playing on your mind at the moment. The 6 of Cups can sometimes talk about children, but it is also my card of the past. This lack of focusing is really pissing me off. Hang on, I will sort that out. Certainly you seem to have been ruminating about things in the past, maybe old situations, maybe old people, maybe you've been reminiscing or something. But with the Hermit, it feels more intentional. It feels like going within to look for answers. Now, in your recent past, we have Death. Now, that is a card of transformation. Right? It can be given to be a card of endings, but I don't really see it that way because I see everything as kind of cyclical anyway. So as an ending occurs, as it starts to phase in, then what you've got is the preparation of a new start coming here, right? There's the beginning and the end. They're all kind of wrapped up in the same thing. But there's something quite profound has occurred for you here, Aquarius. A liberation of sorts. It's the card of Scorpio, but I don't feel like that's relevant. I think it's very much to do with what you have been going through. And it seems like going within and looking for answers has changed something fairly fundamental about you. It's increased your connection to something. You're tapping into something now that you haven't been able to access before. Aquarius tend to look to the horizon all the time. You're very visionary. You're always looking over there. Well, sometimes you miss the things that are going on in front of you, but this feels very internal. It feels like what you've experienced has increased your connection to your internal. And what we've got to clarify is the Queen of Cups and Temperance here, more major arcana, Sagittarius. Queen of Cups is Cancer, but it's very receptive emotional energy, and it feels like you have opened up in some way, Aquarius, and this is something that you struggle with occasionally, but it feels like you're allowing people to approach, you're allowing people to kind of get beyond, I don't want to say the walls necessarily, because I don't think it's a case of constructing walls. I think for you very much it is a case of natural detachment from things. But you certainly seem to be opening up to something a bit more receptive, and this is kind of what's put you in touch with that thing inside of you that is now guiding you quite strongly. This transformation that you've had has been pivotal for you. And coming out the other side, we have Temperance, which speaks of healing and balance and filling your own cup, absolutely, but it talks about conquering adversity in some way. Now, the adversity doesn't feel like it's external to me. It feels like it's internal adversity, and whether that is just because of your inability to open up to emotional things, or whether it's been about a certain mindset that you've been holding for a while that is now shifting and softening. There's a softening here. Don't think for a second that indicates a lack of strength, because it really doesn't. Opening up requires much more strength. But there's I don't even want to say it's a chink in the armour, because it doesn't feel like that, but there's a space. You've created a space to allow a few trusted people in. And it feels like it's filling you up on the inside. You know, there's a lot of water here. The detachment is detaching somewhat, right? It's connection. Connection is something that I'm feeling really strongly here. Now, in your current energy, we had 3 cards, which I wouldn't usually take, but I just kind of thought, fuck it, let's go with it. And it's the Queen of Pentacles, the 8 of Pentacles, and the High Priestess. And this is quite interesting. It's the Queen of Pentacles, strictly Capricorn. But it talks about, for me, she is the archetype that deals with nurturing and, you know, family, potentially. But more than anything else, understanding the value of yourself, right? And it feels like you've got some insight now that maybe you've always had, but you never really put any particular value on because it wasn't over there. It didn't help you necessarily get over there, at least as far as you could tell. And so you kind of pushed it to one side because it wasn't really that important. I think you see the value of it now. And more than that, I think that it's something that you're putting work into expanding, because we have this 8 of Pentacles here. You know, we've got just the one on this card, and we've got multiple ones. We've got you putting in the effort to create more of them in the first place, or going forwards. And then we've got the High Priestess. Connection, again, right? But the High Priestess is about the internal. She's your connection to your intuition, your higher self, you know, however you want to put it. She's full of wisdom, not just knowledge, but wisdom. And it feels like rather than you following a guiding star, you're kind of following a pull that's inside. And you're trusting it enough to see where it goes in the future. High Priestess is Piscean energy. It's quite floaty and sometimes quite indistinct, which for an Aquarius can be quite tricky to navigate because you're very sharp, you know, your intellect first, everything else comes second. There's a sense of you feeling your way forwards rather than thinking your way forwards, which certainly for the time being seems to be suiting you very well. The 2 cards that we've got underneath here are the 7 of Pentacles and the Chariot. And the 7 of Pentacles is for me a card of being dissatisfied with something in your status quo. And I feel like this is where you're trusting your connection to guide you forwards. There is something that's bothering you in your current environment, and whether that is the people that are around you, or, you know, your job, or where you find yourself in the world, or maybe it's just the fucking world as it is at the moment, you know, this absolute global shit show that we've got going on. Maybe this is the thing that's really bugging you, right? But there's a sense of you wanting to try to do things differently to a way that you have done before. And we've got the Chariot. Now, this is fascinating because there's a couple of cards that have been showing up for almost all of the signs. The Chariot is coming out really strongly for everyone. The Four of Wands as well, actually. And so this is the card of the self, right? It's Cancer. Don't know if I just said that, but it deals with duality and balance, right? It speaks to the fundamental notion that we are in a duality consciousness, and whether we like it or not, there are polarities, and those polarities must be held in balance in order for everything to, you know, be aligned and beautiful and all that kind of thing, right? So we have negative and positive, and light and dark, and night and day, and all of these things. But we also have the conscious and the subconscious. We have the light and the shadow. And for me, the Chariot card is speaking very strongly in the last couple of months about shadow work, right? The charioteer being here between these polarities, serving as the point of integration for the two things, right? If you want to be whole, you can't be ignoring bits of yourself. If you want to be fully complete, you can't isolate bits of you and kick them, you know, kick them out and say, well, I don't want that, because it's still there. Right? The things that you put into your shadow don't disappear, they just become repressed, and the harder you repress them, the more they vent and leak out in unexpected places. Now, you are not the only sign to have had the Chariot come out with this kind of aspect in mind. It's come out for Virgo, it's come out for Sagittarius. Who else has it come out for? It's come out for Libra. I think it might have come out for Leo as well. Right? There's been quite a few that it's come out for. And shadow work seems to be the order of the day. Now, as we're coming out of summer and we're coming into autumn, this is kind of a natural time of year for shadow work to really start to occur. You know, the nights are getting longer, it's getting dark earlier. There's less activity outside and more kind of time for, you know, stuff quietly inside, you know, away from the elements, internal reflection, this sort of thing. And I don't think it's any surprise that this card has come up as we're talking about you having achieved a level of connection within yourself here somewhere. A new level of connection and being guided internally. Huh? Now, whether or not you have realized it, maybe shadow work is something that you're actually doing at the moment, or maybe this is speaking to, you know, an understanding that shadow work needs to be done. We've got a lot of cards of the internal here. The High Priestess and the Hermit and the Chariot. Wow. I'm going to be putting together some shadow readings for the signs in the next week or two, because it seems like everybody's at a point where they're ready for it. Let me pull another card for this Chariot here. Cards falling out all over the place, but none of them are actually jumping, which is what we wanted. Did notice that the Chariot tried to flip while I was shuffling, but didn't come out, so let's put those back in. Tell me about this Chariot, please. Page of Swords. Yeah. I think you're changing the way that you think, Aquarius. I think that the way that you think is starting to be fed by something more than just your intellect now, right? This connection to the internal is guiding you, but it's feeding what it is that you know. It's adding a layer onto your knowledge. And it's something that you seem to be intrigued to see where it takes you at the moment. And that's a really good attitude to have, because we've got the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck here, which speaks to me of it's kind of like that point where fate and destiny collide, you know. I said I don't really like the idea or the overtones that come with karmic test, because I think that suggests then that it's something that you can pass or fail, and I really don't see it like that. It's like a syllabus, you know, you hit different bits of it. It's all stuff that you've got to learn, right? The test is kind of irrelevant, really. It's about the knowledge, it's about leveling your soul up and all that sort of thing, right? And I see the Wheel of Fortune when fortunes are improving, but that doesn't happen by accident. That's alignment of energies, you know. That is you kind of drawing things that vibrate at your resonance towards you, and when you increase the level that you're vibrating at, the things get better, you know. But it's about learning. Ultimately, it's a teaching moment card, and whatever you've been experiencing, it is a teaching moment for you. We've got the Page of Swords and the Five of Swords here, and the way that you even just pass information is what I've just heard, actually. The way that you pass information is shifting. It isn't purely cerebral. There's a little bit of something else feeding into it at the moment. You're very intuitive at the moment, Aquarius, and I think that you do right to ride it. So what you've got coming towards you in September is the Eight of Wands, and this feels like an opportunity. It possibly feels like news of an opportunity, to be honest. We've got all the wands, they're coming in, but the crow has taken flight against it, and it's speaking about very swift movements, certainly, right? It's almost as the news lands, you move, you do a thing. And I kind of feel like you are being primed now for this coming in. There's something circulating around you that you are kind of picking up on, you know, whether you can just sense the energetic approach or something, I don't know, but there's something inside you that is kind of making you think about a particular thing that is then going to allow you to move very quickly, because you've already considered these things as this comes in, right? And we've got the Six of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, and the King of Swords to clarify. Now, the Six of Pentacles is a card of balance, achieving balance, or needing to achieve balance sometimes. But it feels like you're being given an opportunity for something, you know? When I'm looking at this card here, and what I can't take my eyes off is the fact that the Pentacles aren't balanced at the moment. They're actually tipping in favor of this person down here, and he's handing something to this person down here, and it feels like you are the recipient of this, right? Something about the balance shifting in your favor coming through. And we've got the Page of Wands and the King of Swords. The King of Swords is you, right? That's your archetypal Aquarian power. It's that ability to express and convey ideas, you know, mental dexterity, clarity of thought, you know. And it seems like there's something coming in for you that is going to play to your strengths. With the Page of Wands here, we have a kind of precursor to movement. He hasn't yet started on the journey because he's right at the beginning, but he's excited about it, right? There's always a frisson when we see this card. Something exciting about the future, something that broadens your horizons, something that you haven't really done before, but you're excited to try. It also plays to your strengths, but something about the metamorphosis that you have experienced of late and are still to some degree involved in at the moment puts you in a better position to be able to receive this opportunity than you would have been before. And I really like that, because ultimately it does play to your strengths and it does have you being your authentic self, but just with an extra layer of insight and perception on the top. This is fascinating. I'm going to go over to Vimeo now, so if you're interested in the extended, come and join me over there. The link will be in the description box. But otherwise, you know, this looks really, really fascinating. If it's If it's resonated, feel free to, you know, like the video or leave a comment or something like that. Let me know how it pans out. Yeah. But otherwise, I will see you in about 10 days probably for the mid-month readings for September. So take care, and I will see you all soon.